Welcome back, everybody, to another alternative F1 podcast. It's a W Series special, and I'm Matthew Connell, joined, of course, as ever, by Audrey Dixon. And we have Vicky Piria from W Series joining us. How are you doing?
Hi, everyone. I'm doing really well. Although we're a bit in a lockdown, but keeping positive, but staying negative. Is that the way you do it, right?
That's exactly. You're going to say it because, of course, you being Italian, based in Italy, but you also got English mother, right? Am I right?
Right. My mum's English.
So you've got the best of both worlds. You've got the positivity and the negativity, which is always a good balance, I find. But before we get started, we have to obviously say thanks to our sponsors and partners of this podcast. Of course, big thank you to Verge Magazine for making this possible, but also Natural Barber. Natural Barber are an awesome hair product that I use for my hair. Again, I am using a hat, so sorry, world, don't judge me, but it is free of synthetics, free of petrochemicals and other harmful ingredients that can irritate sensitive skin. Even Gareth Bale of Tottenham Hotspur, that is right, calls it his go-to hair product. And yes, I use it as mentioned before, and now you can too when you shop now and get 25% off and free next day delivery in the UK when you use the code ALTSPORT25. So that's right, 25% off when you use ALTSPORT25. So visit naturalbarber.co and get onto that good stuff. Now, Vicky, welcome. Thank you, obviously, for giving us your time to be part of this show. Now, we're in October. It feels kind of weird to say that the year is almost over. So how frustrating has it been not really being able to race this year? Of course, luckily for yourself, you got to be a part of the 2019 lineup. Of course, there's some drivers that have been part of W Series this year and not got to race.
Yeah.
How have all those emotions been through the wild ride of this Corona year?
Well, it's been a roller coaster. Obviously finishing last year, and we finished also quite early the season because it finished in August, and from September I was really pumped and already looking forward and working on 2020, and also having the opportunity to have done the 2019 lineup. I also knew what things I could have worked on to get better as a driver, to get a bit more, to get in better results and, just improve. And then, everything falling into pieces in 2020 was not easy, I'm not going to lie. But then again, the decision made sense, and, I totally understand it. Luckily, I managed still to do a couple of races in Eurocup, which was really cool because the car is really similar to W Series. But yeah, I mean, I'm a positive person, so I'm really just like into day by day, and I just try to make the best every day, even if it's not in a racetrack, but it's going to the gym or going to work, or I just try to make it worth it every day, and in that way I'll be happy and positive and ready for 2021. And for me it's on, and I just can't wait. I mean, I feel that the year started yesterday, but I can't wait until it's over.
It's unbelievable, right? It feels like, I can't believe it. I was saying it to someone recently, or maybe we said on a previous show, where you just look at the calendar and you think, wow, it's October already. Where has this year gone? It feels like we've all been hidden out in our houses, hidden away, and on God knows what not. But touching upon your W Series colleagues, how nice has it been to be a part of that? What has it been like? Getting to know your colleagues, that sense of competition, because there's an unbelievably talented roster of drivers.
Well, it has its good side, to be honest. In the beginning, I was very worried about it. I was like, oh, it's going to be so annoying just being with all of them all the time. At the end, they're your competitors. Exactly. But the way W Series works, the fact that they really try to make it very fair, for everyone. That's why we change cars, we change engineers. We all have the feeling that we're kind of in the same boat, and we push each other, obviously. And it's stimulating, because maybe you've seen a driver that struggled the race before, and then you see her improve the race after, and you're like, when you have good examples, automatically in your brain there's this thing that switches and says, if she can do it, I can do it. So we actually push each other in that way, which is really, really good. And sometimes it feels we're on a school trip because, you know, in the morning we're in the bus together and we go to track and everything. And there's, you know, there's the girl that wants just listening to the music and hangs out. The one that's just bubbly at 7 a.m. in the morning and you want to kill them because she's too loud. It's just like being in a school trip. But then at the end of the day, there's a lot of respect between us because we've all been through the same, you know, the selections and everything, and we've all known how difficult it was. So we respect each other for that.
It's been great for us this year, speaking to your colleagues with like the likes of Belen Garcia, Tasmin Pepper, and of course Naomi Schiff. What did you feel you learned the most out of that first year of doing W Series?
I learned so much. I mean, because to be honest, as a championship, you do not have much track time compared to other championships, and that's always something that I missed. But at the same time, the track time you have is so crucial, so important. You can literally not waste a tenth of a second, and so you really take home as much as you can. You know, the working with engineers, even the fact that we change engineers every race, there's always a different point of view. There's always a different background between engineers. There's always a different way you need to talk to the engineer, you know. Maybe you work once with an engineer that's really pushy and pushes you. Maybe you work the other with an engineer that's really calm and calms you down. And, you know, so you kind of really have to adapt. That's what I learned this year, really how to adapt. Because the fact that it was not easy, the fact that the track time wasn't easy, the fact that we were always changing situation, you really could not settle down. You kept on, you had to adapt. And I, you know, at the end of the day, I feel that the capacity to adapting quickly is a main feature of a driver. You know, who's going to win the race? The driver that adapts quicker to the new condition because it's just stopped raining. So I feel that that's really cool, and that's what I really learned.
I was wondering, obviously with like everything that's been going on, obviously people, you've got to find ways to be able to keep yourself in tip-top shape, obviously mentally for racing, obviously physically too. You know, what have you been doing to keep yourself active race-wise? Like, have you been able to do, you know, I know you mentioned some racing with Eurocar earlier. You know, so, but how have you been able to keep yourself active race-wise?
Well, I've still been going to the sim every once in a while, not home simulator, but, you know, the proper simulator. And that's been good because maybe you have time to work on little things of your driving style that maybe are, you know, that you need to change. And obviously you can't work thinking about where the first race is going to be and everything because you don't know when, you don't know how. So it's not been easy. But at the end of the day, in terms of mentally, you need to arrive that you feel that you're ready, you're prepared. So obviously you need to work out, you need to be feeling good, but you also have to feel good. You have to feel positive. I don't want to get into next year feeling, oh, I missed last year, it's going to be really difficult. You know, I want to go there and say, finally, and I've done everything I can to be ready for it. So, and then, you know, sometimes doing things that make you happy in a way are going to really help you be performant. I know it sounds a bit silly, but it really is like that.
No, well, you see, the brighter side of this as well is that if all this stuff hadn't happened, we wouldn't be talking today.
Exactly, you know? Exactly. And
bringing the world together.
Yeah, it's all an opportunity.
Friends.
Yeah, everything's opportunity, you know, to learn, to do something more, to be better. So I just, you know, I try to take all the opportunities I have along the way, even if it is going to be a driving instructor. Okay, I'm not driving myself, I'm in a car helping someone else to be a better driver. So it's going to help me maybe somehow, you know, for next year.
So, I mean, how was it doing the E series? Like, are you much of a gamer yourself?
No, I'm terrible. So the thing is that when the E series happened, Italy just kind of got out lockdown. Now we're kind of getting back in, but it just kind of got out. And so luckily, I was full of work. So I was traveling a lot and I was filming, and I was like literally driving home just to do the sim race. But I never really had time to practice. And that was not easy. That was kind of frustrating because obviously the other girls could, could practice a bit more and be better ready. But still, you need to look at the positive side. I was terrible, but still I learned something more. And then I've also learned that e-gaming is probably not my thing, which is something.
That's it. Stick to the real thing.
Let's say I really like going to work to a proper simulator and, work focused on, the next race and everything. But yeah, e-gaming is not been easy for me, but just simply because you really need to have so much time for it, so much fun for it. But still, it was cool to have the opportunity to do something because it kept you mentally ready and oriented for W Series. So at the end, I'm, even if I was terrible, I'm happy it happened.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's one of those things where, fortunately, it's a great showcase, despite the season being on hold. Of course, there are always going to be those people. You're always going to have those friends that are more of a gamer than yourself or whatever. And of course, some of them are prepared, already have their sim and all that good stuff. But nevertheless, a good showcase. So that's one thing I've actually noticed about W Series, and one thing that we've really enjoyed learning about W Series along this journey. That they're really, really good at introducing and showcasing your profiles, your personalities, and who you are, where you come from. And it was great watching one of the introduction videos of yourself with W Series, and you were very, very open and honest about the journey of going from karting to GP3 up to this point, and of course with the battles and the hardships of sponsorships and all that, on all the difficult stuff that I think fans sometimes don't notice. It's very difficult. It's how important was your family during that process? Because that's something you were very open about, especially with your father. Like that journey must have been so difficult.
Very important, because the family is there, and having people that believe in you. Even we always say, oh, we're strong, we believe in each other, but we always have our downtime. Especially for me, after 5 years without racing in a single seater last year, I had my downtime, obviously, but having someone that really believes in you and says, it's you can do it. And my dad, sometimes he would text me before qualifying, and maybe I had 1,000 thoughts of when was the good tire window, how I should have done corner, that turn or the other turn. When I was like, my mind was going, he was just like, he sent me this text once, and he was like, guida come sai guidare, which means drive like you know how to drive. And then I was just like, I just have to make it simple and drive like the way and that really helped me. It's a silly text, but it clicks. So it's crucial. And then, obviously your family knows you since you're a kid and knows you really well, and seeing me in the track from little karting days to big GP3 days to W Series. So they know about me, and it helps.
And I think what's really great about that is you were very honest about the fact that there are those points where you just felt like, okay, I want to give up here, because you had obviously certain difficult races and during that experience. Just how important was that to overcome that hurdle? Because of course, I can only imagine. I'm insanely competitive in very minuscule, pointless things, but in that kind of world, in the race world, it's everything. And it feels like
that, yeah. The more you care, the more you get these moments, I think, because the more you care about what you're doing, the more you're competitive, you want to do well, and the more you're going to get angry if it doesn't happen. If you don't care, you don't think about giving up. It's just like, oh, whatever, I'll just do the next race. The reason why you care so much is the reason why you have those down times. But at the end of the day, naturally I'm drilling into being a driver. Naturally I'm drilling into finding any opportunities I have to be in a track. Like even this year, we weren't racing, and I did a 24-hour race with a rental cart, and then I went to do this competition. I mean, any opportunity I have, I'll take it. So I was there driving this 24-hour rental cars, you know, in the middle of real cold, because it was really, really cold in the night. And I was like, what the hell am I doing here? I'm racing in Formula 3 and I'm here in the middle of these people doing this. And then it's natural. It's natural. And the enthusiasm I've got, literally, it's going to sound ridiculous, but the same enthusiasm I put in the W Series is the same that I put into a rental car race. And it just, you feel it, it's natural.
I love the competitive spirit in you. You know, you're very, you and Matt are very, very similar. When we a couple of weeks ago, we was filming us driving some power boats. Now, Matt doesn't drive normally on the road, and then I'm scared of deep water, and so therefore you can imagine what it's like when he floored this boat as fast as possible.
I like speed. That's all I'm saying.
And the waves were hitting. I was just like, oh my God, this is going to be the day that I'm going to die. This is it. You're both adrenaline jumping. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So when you come over to London, then we're going to we'll all get together and go karting, and then we can really compete, all of us together.
And hopefully we'll be alive by the end of the day.
I hope so.
Well, at least I know I'm not going to drown in this one. This is most important. So I'm old enough to remember what it's like before Corona. So I you know, we can all remember what life was like before then. Everyone was happy, and you know, shades were on. We were going all around the world and stuff like that. But what would you tell yourself, you know, your younger self, before you actually started racing? What would your advice be to yourself?
Well, the thing is that sometimes you just have to make things simple. The reason I'm so competitive and I care so much, and sometimes I go overthink because I just want to be perfect, and sometimes just being a bit more simple in driving, but also when you talk to an engineer, when you talk to a sponsor, when you talk to a team, it helps. But at the end, I really do not have any regrets. I'm happy of where I am now. I just really want to look ahead to life without Corona, especially.
Don't worry, it's not gonna last forever. We will all be racing, and we all gonna be hanging out, you know, talking about this. But you know what? This is the one thing I would say is that this is going to be the first year. You know, normally you have, you know, let's say in a group of people, it would be like, oh, I can't wait till this year's over, or this year's been the greatest year of my life. I think everyone this year on New Year's Eve across the world will be, and obviously we haven't got any long-term solution. I don't know why we're celebrating, but we all will be like, yeah.
Finally. Yeah.
So next year we're looking forward to it being the best year ever.
Yeah, well, I really need that. I really want that. You know, I mean, at the end of the day, to be honest, it's not been a terrible year still for me, because, you know, there's always something good that you can take out of situations. You know, having the lockdown after months of like never being with my family, you know, to be honest, I had fun in lockdown. I was just like all over the place. I'm lucky I have a nice home. And my family is just crazy because we're 7 people, 4 dogs. So trust me, I was never bored, never ever bored. I used to go to bed and I was knackered. So like, you know, you take the positive things. The real, you know, thing that's missing is the racing, but it will be back. It will be back, and we'll be back better than ever. So
well, I mean, to tell me, like, have you got like a hobby that something new that you've started? So obviously we started this
during lockdown.
Yeah, we started. You know, I cornered him into up there into you know, talking to me every single day on Zoom. You know, for the last how many months now? I don't know how many months we've been doing this. It feels like a long time, years. So what new skill have you learned?
Well, let's say the coolest thing that, at least for me, I did is that I'm really into horse riding. I love horse riding, but it's something I never do, obviously, during the season, because I don't want to fall down the horse, which is something that can happen really often, and hurt my ankle and not race in W.
No.
So I'm like, no, not going horse riding this year. well, this year there was no W Series, so I could go horse riding, and I enjoyed, going back to the regions because it was something I really loved when I was a kid, and I was competing in it as well. And I discovered go-karting, and I was like, okay, horses, goodbye. But so being able to do those things, like this summer, I had fun because I learned new sports, I did new activities, I did a lot of things that during race season you really do not have time to do. Going to places that I haven't been to, like learning new sports, new skills. But it could be even like going on a stand-up paddle, anything. So that's something I really enjoyed this year. Being able to take it easy and do new stuff that I can't do during the race season because normally it's really hectic.
Well, it certainly feels like, hopefully, I feel like it's really weird because it feels like some parts of the world are like, obviously us Europeans are very unlucky and unfortunate that we're I feel like we're the ones left behind now. We're very unlucky. I have friends that live in Australia. I know they have open stadium sports. There's people in the crowds now. Of course, we see it in America. I think there's obviously hope. Like we've seen some racing come back, F3, F2, F1.
Yeah.
So at least we're getting the entertainment factor back, which is exciting. There's one thing, of course, in the video W Series you chatted about was coming up as the Italian you are. Of course, you would race with the likes of Antonio Giovinazzi.
Yeah.
Do you still keep in touch?
Sometimes.
Was it a competitive thing? I mean, when you come up through karting and your early series of driving, is it obvious to look at someone as a racer and say, oh, there's someone that will make the big leap? Or is it something that just happens in a click?
Well, I always knew like Antonio was really, really fast.
Yeah.
But then Formula One is a tough world. You don't know if it's being fast is enough sometimes. So, obviously you respect them, you see them, and, Verstappen, I remember seeing Verstappen in Formula 3 and saying, okay, he's going to be in Formula 1, and he was in there the year after. So, but it's cool, and the fact that, they've been doing it, it's something that it's also, it gives you a lot, you look back and say, oh, I raced with him, and that's where they were, and then maybe you remember that you were close or not far off to the way they were there, to their pace. So it's something stimulating, something cool. And yeah, so you look up to those people, but you're also, they're also something that can stimulate you, for sure.
I think that's the interesting thing with the race world, because of course a lot of it also comes behind how well backed you are financially, having a great car available to you. Because it's not like when you watch football or something, you can kind of tell from a long way off who's going to be like an unbelievable talent. If you look at like Formula F2 at the moment, there's unbelievable talent. And you think with all the empty seats in F1, you're thinking, it could be anyone. Yeah. Anyone can come up and fill those seats. Has there ever been a talent driver-wise that maybe hasn't made that big leap where you thought, wow, they're unbelievable, but just haven't had that luck to make that jump? Is there anyone that stands out?
Well, I really think Antonio Felix da Costa. I raced with him in GP3, and he wasn't racing with a really good team, but he's always been someone that's been really fast wherever he went. And I love also his mental attitude, the way he talks to people. He's really clever in track and out track. And I really think that he would have been someone cool to see in Formula One. But he's doing really well now, after his Formula E win, the championship win. I hope that he's going to do cool things, because I think he deserves it.
Oh, definitely. I was wondering as well, like being a sole Italian sole Italians in F1 and W Series. What does it mean? What does it mean to you, to represent your country, like being that there's not that many representing your country at the moment?
Well, it's something cool. Yeah, something cool, because then you're like, oh, I'm the only Italian racing in W Series. And if you think about it, it sounds pretty cool.
The one and only, cool. Come on.
But on the other
There's a lot
hand,
of drivers who would like to be driving there. That's that's pretty cool that you're doing it.
And then on another hand, though, I envy a little bit, the UK girls, because they're 5, and obviously there's a bit more, attention and everything for them, because obviously they're 5, they're more drivers, and they're all really, really good. So in one way, I wish there was a bit more Italy in W Series in a way, but hopefully I'll make some noise next year. So one will be enough.
That's the plan. We've got a campaign now. We're going to start this campaign. So we could, this is not for us being for any selfish reasons at all, for us to be able to go to Italy, because obviously I'm tired of seeing Croydon. I've seen enough of Croydon and this wardrobe that I'm in constantly, all the time, stuck in it. So what would you say is your favorite racetrack, and then what would your dream track, that's not on the calendar at the moment, that you would love to race at as well?
Well, favorite is Spa. I really love Spa, and I love Mugello. Obviously, I just think it's so cool. So those, obviously, they're pretty common answers, isn't it? Spa, all of them, they're going to do Spa, but I'm going to put Mugello in as well, just to make it different. And tracks I'd like to race in Le Mans, but just simply because I would like to do them.
Wow. Yeah, well, we would like to be there too, so we'll be there with you all the way to cheer you on.
Yeah, cool. All right.
I was going to say, that's a great thing. It's funny because Spa has come up quite a lot, and I've been lucky enough to get to go to Spa. And even as a spectator, I actually look at it with jealousy, because it just looks like such a beautiful track to run. I have family that are part of the McLaren garage team, and obviously when they have their race weekends, they get to do a run, and obviously they get to run the track. So I'm jealous at every level that anyone that gets to experience a Spa
it's
or any of these tracks. I mean, it's incredible. And of course, we've got. It's incredible that the F1 this year has given us so many
Portimao,
we've had Portimao, we've had so many races.
Portimao, I remember racing in Portimao, and I had a problem with my radio. My channel was always open, so my engineer could always hear me. And the first time I went like up and down, I was like, whoa! And my engineer started laughing like a maniac. It was so funny. Portimao was really, really cool too. Unfortunately, I just raced there once, but it was really cool.
This is a question. It's a stupid question that actually ended up accidentally being something I ask pretty much every driver we speak to. We spoke to a little while ago. I won't disgrace him anymore. I keep on telling him. I keep on telling the same thing again and again, and he I'm sure he's tired of hearing it. But anyway, this driver in particular, that we was Pierre Gasly. he basically said that one of the songs that he listens to before he races, it was a 50-cent candy shop. When I put him on the spot, and I said, like, you've got to give me an answer. So is there a song that you use to kind of G yourself up?
It depends on the mood. It depends on the mood of the race. So like, and then sometimes sometimes I obsess on a song, and I listen to it a lot during the race weekend. And the cool thing is that if I listen to it like now, I listen to that song, it brings me back to that race weekend. So sometimes I would actually even do like a playlist for that race, because I really go to phases. I'll go to the 50 Cent Travis Scott phase, and then I'll go to the punk rock phase with Good Charlotte and stuff like that. Oh,
nice! I love that.
And
I like that. I love that. That's a bit of me.
And then I'll go to the commercial, Latin, Italian, summery vibes. So it depends really on the mood. And the cool thing is that now, if I listen to, I don't know, Thanks for the Memories or Fall Out Boy, it brings me back to Aston. If I listen to Can't Say of Travis Scott, it brings me back to Van Dijk. It's cool.
I'm gonna say, I think me and Vicky would get on very well, because there's a little emo black heart in both of us here. Dropping Good Charlotte and Fall Out Boy is a bit of me. So I was very happy to hear that.
what would you say, like, music, artist is on your rotation? Because I think, we're heading down the direction that what we'll do at a later point. We're going to get you to put together a playlist for everyone to be able to share. So, like, what type of music is on your playlist at the moment, on your rotation?
It's crazy because I just really do not have one. Like, I've got my phone here. I've got.
Oh, go on. You have to read out the first five songs.
The first song is Daft Punk, Instant Crush.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Yeah. Then
upbeat and positive, and we need that in these times.
Yeah.
What's this one? Oh, this is Rock
Your Body.
The classic. What a absolute hit.
So it's just basically really random.
You got to give me one more. Give me one more.
Okay.
What else we got rocking here?
I think I learned. This is probably a commercial. Together, L.I. I have no idea, but I liked it. Then there's a little bit of. Oh, this one. This is a bomb. You don't. Oh yeah, because I've got this. No, wait.
Wait a minute. Was that Many Men, 50 Cent?
Wait.
Hold on a second.
Come on.
You listen to Many Men, 50 Cent. Like, I'm sorry.
It's a pretty good mix, right? It's a pretty solid. It's a pretty solid collection.
Honestly, hip hop heads all around the world are literally right. Okay, Vicky, you definitely are going to be putting together a playlist for us. Definitely, 100%. We're definitely going to get you to put that together. That's amazing.
This is it. This is giving me serious inspiration because after this chat, I'm going to go for a run. I'm just going to go for the craziest playlist on earth. Like, I'm ready now. I'm ready. Like, I've just got all this inspiration.
Yeah. I love changing, mixing it up.
But sometimes you can't fault the classics. This is the thing. There's too many. I always find myself going backwards rather than going forwards. It's hard now because, of course, not many artists are making new music at the moment. Because
they all mash up old things, don't they? Now.
But this is the thing. It's incredibly hard. But I respect the balance of going from a Fall Out Boy, 50 Cent, Travis Scott. Come on, that's what it's all about. Killer playlists all around. But look, we're gonna wind it down now. It's been, as you said, it's been a wild year, wild playlists. It's going to be impossible to predict 2021, of course, in this current climate. We don't know what happens next week. But Vicky, personally for yourself, what kind of goals and hopes and dreams do you have personally for yourself, but also for W Series?
Well, for me, next year is going to be a really, really important year. I really do want to make something, special in W Series. And I really, it's going to be crucial. And I really want to find the balance between that and keeping up with the work, with career, with all the stuff that comes with it. But, W Series for next year for me will be really important. So for me, obviously, hopefully, is to do the best I can, but, do really well. And that W Series has a long, long life. Maybe one day I'll be a mom and I'll have a kid that she goes karting. And I was like, oh, you can do W Series. Don't worry. That's a cool thing. That's what I love about W Series is that in sport, you really need a goal, an example. You need to, you see someone that makes it. It's like, oh, if he can do it, I can do it. And I want W Series to go on so now every little girl that kind of likes cars and starts maybe karting or can say, well, if all those girls in W Series can do it, I can do it, and that's the path to follow. So hopefully.
Fingers crossed and wonderfully put. And we can only say, we hope that anyone, boy, girl, young or old, get down there, get down karting, get started, get on the track, get a feel. Because if you haven't done it yet, do it. And if you have friends or family, young ones, nieces, nephews, friends of children, tell them, get on the track, get them on there young, because that's how these sports grow. This is how the race world grows. That's how we'll have more boys and girls. We'll have more gender diversity, we'll have more race diversity on these tracks. If you encourage all those people that we know to go and discover, go and find out things that you might not notice. And we can only hope, Vicky, that next year we hope to see you guys in and around the tracks. Hopefully we'll be in and around you guys, bothering you, filming you, asking questions around all the tough moments, all the good moments. We might bother you while you got your headphones and say, "Hey, what are you listening to? What kind of stuff you got going
on?" I'm still in heaven from that one.
This is it. This is what we
completely by surprise. That was brilliant.
We like to find out the shocks. We like to find out. There's always an interesting nugget of all these W Series races. We've learned a lot so far, and Vicky, another awesome surprise. First of all, from us, thank you so much.
Guys,
thank you so much for joining us. And as we roll off into the sunset, where can we find you on your social media?
Well, it's easy because it's my name and my surname, which you can pronounce really well. So what's my name and my surname?
Vicky Piria.
Okay, so just hit that and you'll find me anywhere.
That's
Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
I'm glad that Vicky. I'm glad you asked Matt, because no, it would. I would with my flat tongue, it would just fail.
That's it. The Croydon comes to Italy. It'd be quite the experience. Vicky, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you, W Series, as always, for giving us your awesome races to chat to. If you enjoyed what you saw and you liked and what you heard, of course, going up for Vicky, go hit subscribe. Hit subscribe up at W Series as well. Get to know the wider roster, some incredible personalities there. And of course, we are the Alternative F1 podcast. Make sure you check out Verge Magazine. I'm Matthew Connell. That's Andre Dixon and Vicky Piria. We shall see you next time.